Sometimes you've got to walk a road no one else understands. You've got to stand up in silence while the world makes noise. Not because you're antisocial, not because you're bitter, but because your spirit demands something greater. There's a reason why the wolf hunts alone. There's a reason why it doesn't follow the pack. It leads by instinct, not by applause. That same fire, that same call is in you, and if you're honest, you've felt it your whole life. The urge to separate, to think deeper, to move differently, to rise above average. That calling is not a mistake. That isolation is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the refining fire of destiny calling you higher, deeper, and further than what's comfortable. You see, when you choose to walk alone, you're making a declaration. You're saying to yourself and the world that your purpose matters more than popularity. Your growth matters more than group approval. Your calling is more important than convenience. It's easy to blend in, to laugh at jokes that don't resonate with your soul, to sit at tables where your vision is too big to even be understood. But you weren't created to be easy to digest. You weren't built to be agreeable at the expense of your anointing. That tug in your spirit when you're in the wrong place with the wrong people, that's not anxiety, that's alignment breaking. And when alignment breaks, that's your sign. That's your signal that it's time to get up and move, alone if necessary, alone if it means survival, alone if it means becoming who you were born to be. There's a season for everything, and some seasons require you to be alone. Not lonely, alone, because there's a difference. Lonely is a void. Alone is a choice. Alone is a space of transformation. Alone is the gym where your character is built. Alone is the mountain where your spirit gets trained. Alone is the classroom where God speaks when the crowd is quiet. See, we live in a world that fears solitude because solitude forces us to face ourselves. Most people are addicted to distraction, constantly running from the silence because in the silence, the truth gets loud. In the silence, the mirror speaks, and sometimes that mirror shows you weakness, fear, confusion, lack of discipline. But that's not the end, it's the beginning. Because once you see it, you can fix it. Once you face it, you can fight it. And that's why walking alone is so vital. You don't grow when everyone's cheering. You grow when it's just you, your thoughts, your prayers, and your grind. People will call you crazy for not going with the crowd. Let them, they'll talk behind your back while you keep moving forward. Let them. The wolf doesn't stop to bark back at every dog. It keeps walking, eyes forward, locked on the goal. Most folks are addicted to belonging. They'll sell their soul just to be liked. But you, if you're serious, you've got to learn to be addicted to becoming. Becoming the man or woman you were designed to be. Becoming stronger, wiser, more disciplined. That kind of transformation doesn't happen in the middle of the crowd. It happens in the trenches, in the quiet, in the lonely walks when no one's clapping for you. And here's the truth they don't tell you. There's power in the struggle. There's power in those nights when you cry alone. Power in those days when you question if it's even worth it. Power in every step you take that nobody sees, because those are the moments where your roots grow deep. That's when your character gets tested, your motives get purified, your heart gets aligned. You don't need the lights to shine for the seed to take root. It's underground where the real work begins, and when you walk alone, you're planting yourself in the right soil. The soil of focus, the soil of determination, the soil of authenticity, and though it feels slow, though it feels quiet, something powerful is growing beneath the surface. Walking alone will test you. It'll break parts of you didn't know were weak. It'll expose the voices in your head that you've been drowning out with people, with noise, with busyness. But that's where the growth starts. That's where you meet your real self. That's where you stop being a follower and start becoming a force. You were never meant to be common. You were never meant to just fit in, and deep down you know that. That's why you keep getting frustrated trying to move with people who don't share your vision. That's why you can't rest when you see average all around you, because you weren't built to settle, you weren't built to hide, you were built to walk, to climb, to dominate. When you walk alone, something strange happens. Your senses sharpen, your awareness increases, you start to hear things others don't. You notice the subtle shifts in energy, the silent red flags, the invisible walls. You start to trust your instincts more because now you have to. There's no crowd to lean on, no groupthink to fall back on. It's just you and that small voice inside telling you to keep going. And when you obey that voice, despite the fear, despite the confusion, that's where courage is born. That's where vision gets clearer. That's where you develop a kind of spiritual muscle that no one can take from you. There's something powerful about knowing you can walk alone and still be full of vision. Full of fire, full of purpose. See, when you don't need the crowd to validate you, you become unstoppable. They can't cancel you. They can't label you. They can't manipulate you, because you've already decided who you are. And you've already decided what you're walking toward. Wolves don't need a committee to make a decision. They don't wait for consensus. They move on instinct and insight. And when you tap into that version of you, the one that knows, that sees, that hears from something greater, you become dangerous to mediocrity. That's what this walk is really about. Learning how to become dangerous to mediocrity. Learning how to stand in who you are, no matter who's watching. Learning how to carry your calling with confidence, even when no one claps. The crowd is fickle. One day they love you, the next they forget your name. But purpose, real purpose, that's eternal. That's rooted in something deeper. That doesn't fade when the lights go off or the followers leave. That's what you're cultivating when you choose to walk alone. Purpose that doesn't need permission, vision that doesn't need validation, discipline that doesn't need distraction. But don't get it twisted. Walking alone doesn't mean walking without direction. It means walking with divine purpose. It means having the courage to say no when everyone else is saying yes. It means standing still while others are rushing, waiting for that inner voice to confirm your next move. It means building in silence, growing in private, mastering your craft when no one's watching. That kind of discipline, that kind of dedication, creates legends, and it starts with the decision to stop waiting for the world to walk with you and start walking anyway. Even if it's through the valley, even if it's uphill, even if it's in the dark, keep walking. It's in the dark places where your identity gets formed. It's in the silent seasons where your destiny takes shape. It's in the lonely hours where your strength is forged. Don't fear it. Don't run from it. Embrace it. Walk in it. Let it mold you. Let it stretch you, because one day the light will find you, and when it does, you'll be ready. Not because you waited for someone to approve you, but because you trained when no one was looking. Because you stayed committed when it was inconvenient. Because you believed when no one else did. There are levels to this life, and not everybody is willing to pay the price to rise. Some folks stop when it gets hard. Others quit when they're not understood, but the ones who walk alone, they rise. They don't need perfect conditions. They don't need cheerleaders. They don't need consensus. They just need that inner fire and the will to keep going. That's who you're becoming, a different breed, a quiet storm, a soul on a mission. So walk alone if you have to. Stand tall in your truth. Honor the silence. Respect the process. Don't beg for company. Build your character. Don't chase applause. Cultivate purpose. Don't wait for the world to understand you. Understand yourself. You are not here to fit in. You are here to break through. You are not here to impress the world. You are here to impact it. And sometimes that impact begins with a lonely walk, one step at a time, in the direction no one else dares to go. Keep walking. When you make the decision to walk alone, understand this. It's not just about separating yourself from others. It's about rising to a standard only few are willing to meet. This walk is not glamorous. It won't always feel good. Sometimes it'll feel like you've made the wrong choice, but every step forward is building something in you that no crowd, no applause, no handshake could ever give you. You're not just walking away from people. You're walking toward discipline, toward vision, toward clarity, toward responsibility. You're walking toward the version of yourself that you were always meant to become, but couldn't become while clinging to what's familiar. That transformation requires cost, and the price is often solitude. There's a rhythm to walking alone. At first, it feels unnatural. You look around and realize there's no one beside you, no one to fall back on. You start to hear doubt whispering in your ear, asking if you're sure about this path. That's the point. That's where strength gets tested. It's easy to be confident when you have a team. It's easy to be bold when someone's hyping you up. But when you're alone, truly alone, and still keep showing up, still keep pushing, still keep believing, that's when you step into your own power. That's when faith becomes more than a word. That's when your roots grow deep and your foundation becomes unshakable. See, people confuse walking alone with weakness, but it's one of the most powerful positions you can be in, because when you're not depending on others to validate you, you start moving based on inner conviction. And that's when things begin to shift. You stop looking for confirmation and start listening for direction. You stop chasing noise and start tuning into the voice within. That's when strategy replaces opinion. That's when wisdom becomes louder than gossip. That's when your walk becomes warfare, not for destruction, but for construction. Building a life on purpose, not by default. Walking alone will strip you. It'll strip away excuses, laziness, distractions. It'll confront your mindset, expose your habits, challenge your pace. It'll show you what you're really made of. Not the social version of you, not the version you post online, but the core of who you are when nobody's watching. And if you can survive that, if you can stand in the furnace of solitude long enough, you come out sharper, stronger, wiser. You come out ready to lead. Because now, you don't just know what to do, you've become someone who can't be moved. But hear me clearly, not everyone will understand this path. People will misread your silence. They'll think you're arrogant. They'll think you're distant. They won't know that your silence is filled with focus. That your distance is necessary for your development, and that's okay. You're not obligated to explain the process to people who haven't committed to growth themselves. You're not here to be understood. You're here to fulfill purpose. And sometimes, fulfilling purpose means walking away from comfort and into the unknown. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. You will be tempted to go back to the familiar, back to the noise, back to the circle that made you feel accepted but never challenged. But remind yourself, you didn't leave to prove a point. You left to protect your promise, and anything worth becoming requires sacrifice. You may miss the company, but you won't miss the compromise, because now you're feeding your future, not your feelings. You're building muscle in the spirit, muscle in the mind, muscle in your habits. You're no longer living for attention. You're living with intention. And let's be real, this kind of life isn't for everyone. Some people want the comfort of the crowd more than the calling of greatness. They want applause without preparation. They want titles without training. But you've chosen something different. You've chosen refinement. You've chosen the fire. You've chosen the long road. And even though it's harder, even though it's quieter, it's more rewarding. Because you know where it's taking you, you know what you're becoming in the process, and you know that the deeper you go, the higher you'll rise. The wolf doesn't apologize for being different. It doesn't shrink to fit into the herd. It moves with quiet confidence because it understands its design. You've got to move the same way. Stop explaining your standards. Stop justifying your focus. Stop apologizing for outgrowing places you used to fit in. You're not better. You're just becoming. You're just aware now. You see the trap of settling. You see the danger in distraction. And because you see it, you can't go back to blindness. Once your eyes are open, once your spirit is awakened, once your hunger has been stirred, walking alone is no longer a burden. It's a blessing. This path will teach you how to carry weight without complaining. How to endure pressure without breaking. How to dream big without needing anyone to believe in you but you. That's a different kind of power. That's a dangerous kind of faith. Because now you're not motivated by ego. You're driven by assignment. You're not hustling for applause. You're grinding for legacy. And that kind of drive doesn't need a crowd. It just needs clarity. Every time you keep walking, even when it's dark, you're building momentum. Every time you take a step with no guarantee, you're cultivating faith. Every time you choose prayer over panic, vision over validation, discipline over distraction, you're rewriting the narrative of your life. And when the time comes, when you finally look back at how far you've come, you'll realize that every lonely step was worth it. Every silent season was sacred. Every rejection was redirection. Every sacrifice was a seed. And what you built in the dark will shine in the light. You've got to believe in that. Believe in the process. Believe in your growth. Believe in the God that put that fire in your spirit and won't let you settle. Believe in the greatness that's still forming inside you. You may not feel it every day, but it's there. Every tear you cried in silence, every time you chose obedience over comfort, every time you walked when you could have sat down, it's all adding up. You are not the same person who started this journey. You're wiser now, you're tougher now, you're more focused now, and you're still rising. So don't be afraid of being different. Don't shrink for comfort. Don't settle for company if the company costs you your calling. Keep moving, keep believing, keep sharpening yourself, even when it's lonely, even when it's quiet, even when it's hard, because on the other side of that walk is a version of you you haven't even met yet. And that version, that refined, fearless, disciplined, locked-in version of you is the one this world needs, but you don't get there through shortcuts. You don't get there through comfort. You get there through obedience, through endurance, through walking alone with your head held high and your eyes fixed forward. The wilderness won't last forever. The silence won't last forever. But what will last is the person you become through it all. That's the reward. That's the legacy. Not just what you built, but who you became, a wolf, a leader, a force, not moved by noise, not distracted by critics, not weakened by the crowd, but built by solitude, strengthened by silence, driven by purpose, and anchored by a vision so clear that no detour, no delay, and no rejection can stop it. Keep walking, alone if you must, but never without purpose, never without fire, never without faith. So now you stand at the edge of who you were and who you're becoming. The world may never understand your silence. They may question your distance, misread your discipline, and laugh at your pace. But they don't know the war you fought in secret. They don't see the tears, the prayers, the battles behind closed doors. They don't understand what it costs to carry vision when no one else sees it. But you do, and that's enough. You were never called to blend in. You were born to break cycles, to walk where others fear to go, to rise when others sit, to speak when others stay silent. You were born to walk alone, not because you're weak, but because you're chosen. And chosen ones walk differently. They see differently. They build differently. They trust what's within more than what's around. And when the storm comes, they don't fold. They rise, they walk on. So walk like the wolf you were born to be. Eyes sharp, spirit strong, back straight, alone maybe, but never aimless. You carry purpose, you carry power, you carry promise. Keep walking. The world may not see it now, but when the dust settles and the silence clears, they'll realize the one who walked alone never walked without destiny. And that kind of walk changes